Hey kids, Mr. Jim here. You can see I've got a guitar in my hand. The camera on this portion of the guitar here. Now remember, we call this the head of the guitar, the head. You can see these three things here. These are called your tuning keys, your tuning pegs, or your machine heads. All three names correct. Keys, tuning pegs, or machine heads. Okay. This little white thing here, this is called the nut, remember? The nut. And this is where the guitar proper begins, from there forward, okay? So you have the head which comes up to the nut, which joins onto the neck, okay? Now on the neck here you have the bits of wood, wire that are in the wood here. So this part on the front here, this dark piece, this is known as your fingerboard or your fretboard, okay? Because these pieces of wire are called frets, F-R-E-T, fret, alright? Now depending on which fret we put our fingers, as to what sort of note we're going to make, what sort of sound we'll make. So you can hear the note changes every time you change your fret, and that's the idea of it. And in fact what you're doing is your finger is acting like the nut. It's almost like you've got a movable nut and you're shifting it like a scale ruler up and down the neck to shorten or lengthen the string, which in turn changes the pitch. Now remember, pitch is just a word for what we're actually hearing. We're either hearing what we call a low pitch or a high pitch or even higher. Okay? Now remember the string, and these are the strings, okay? We'll talk about the strings. The strings here. The strings come across from the tuning key or the machine head, across the nut and down along the neck, okay? Now we don't worry for the string out here. This doesn't concern us. It's really just, it's too short, too tight, nothing we can do practical there. But from the nut forward, the string, once you pluck it, the string vibrates, and this is what causes the sound, the music that we play. Now, the fingers, this is important, the fingers. You must learn to train your fingers to sit like this, nice and curled, okay, nice and curled, okay, like that, spread like so, that each finger learns to go to its own fret. Now we have 4 fingers, so therefore we'll be able to play 4 frets at any given time. Finger number 1, which is your first finger, number 2, 3 and 4. Finger 1 goes to fret 1, 2 goes to 2, 3 goes to 3, 4 to 4. Okay? Now as much as possible, you learn to spread your fingers, and then you just gently lift your finger up and down to create a new sound or a new fret, okay? Once you put your finger on a string, you must gently but firmly press the string until it's firmly snug up against the wood. It's no good just laying your finger gently on it, because you get a really dull, no good sound. You need to actually push. But you don't want to push so hard that you're going to hurt your fingers. You just a nice firm pressure to get a sound, okay? When it comes to the fret, you need to be right snug up against the inside of the fret, okay? You don't want to be on top of the fret, because if you lay on the fret, once again you get a very muffled, dull sound, not good. But you get right up snug to the inside of the fret, and you get your best cut-off point, and that's what you're aiming for. And each finger learns to stretch out so that when it comes down, it sits as close as it can to the fret, without actually being on the fret, okay? Now, when you lift a finger, going backwards, the string's getting longer again, so therefore the sound is going down. Coming forward, I'm cutting it off and it's getting shorter, okay? That's very important. I don't know if you can see it here. Can you see that little, right on the very front here of my finger, see a little groove where the string was, okay? And that's where you need to be. You can see that little groove there, okay? Now that's where you want to be. You want to be right up on what's called the tip of your finger. So you bend your finger down so it's like that, and then you move straight in, so that your fingertip is what hits the string. You don't want to be flapping up and down like this, okay? This is not good. It's very clumsy. You won't get a good accuracy. Now this will work if you're going to play more than one string with one finger. Then yes, you can use a portion of your finger to actually fret, 3 strings at once. But if you're just playing one string, then it's a nice, neat placing of the finger up and down in the appropriate fret. Now, when I lift this finger here, okay, this finger starts to work, and then I'll lift that and this finger work, and so forth, okay. But as I lift each finger, you'll notice I don't pull all these fingers back over. Look at this, you've got 3 fingers sitting in 1 fret. This is not good. You want to learn to train your fingers so they just dot up and down above the fret they're going to play. They don't pull away. Do not pull away like that, okay? That's really no good to you at all. It's only going to slow you down, impede your accuracy, and you'll never become fast and fluent. So you just dot up and down from the knuckle, and from the knuckle I mean here, this point here. What you're doing is you're lifting from that knuckle and putting it up and down. If I stand up like this on the guitar, you can see the finger's just lifting up and down. Okay, the next one, up and down, okay? That's all you're doing. You're lifting that finger up and down, but you're keeping it in its fret, so all it's doing is sitting above. Now, finger number 2, I've lifted it, but it's still sitting on fret number 2, so I can just go straight back to number 2. If I go to the next finger on number 3, that will just go to number 3, and he'll go to number 1. So that's the idea, is to train your fingers to stay in its fret, so you get accuracy, and you no longer have to keep looking to your board then once you learn to do this. Because when you're trying to look at your hand doing this, you cannot keep your eye on the piece of music in front of you, so you've got no idea what note you're going to play next. You don't know where you are in the piece. So it's very important that you learn to start to train your hand to become in control of each fret, okay? Each finger has its own fret. Doesn't matter what string you're on, eventually your brain will judge the distances you need to move if you give it the chance to do so, okay? So remember, we'll roll over again like you can see this, that's it. Now see how my thumb's not over the top of the guitar? Okay, a lot of people do this, but really that just impedes your playing once again. And you just want to lift your finger, see, up and down, up and down, up and down. Then this one. You do not want to be going like this, so you don't want this finger going way out. See, this is just a big, long, slow movement, okay? It's going to slow, so you're really just going to lift this finger, you know, and you only need to lift to clear the string, only maybe, 5-10 millimeters. The closer you can train your hand to stay at the string, the more faster and more accurate you will become, okay? So train, and it is a training process. You need to sit down like every other aspect of your life that you do well at. You study, you practice, you practice, you practice, okay? Okay? And that's what you need to do. Now go ahead, start to practice. Just stay on one string for a while, go up, and then go down, up, down, okay? Up, down. Now once again, if I slide my finger way up here, see, all this string here doesn't work anymore. It's just there, it's nothing. The string is only vibrating from there to there, so it's quite short now. I can go right up here. And it's a really high sound, because now it's only vibrating in this little section here, okay? So remember that. The finger is basically a movable nut which shortens or lengthens the string to change the pitch. Your speed and accuracy come from having a nice technique, okay? Nice curl finger that's just going straight in and straight out off the fret. Straight in, so not flapping up and down like this, okay? So, now this will be very frustrating for some time. This is not a really easy instrument to learn. But you need to do this, just train your fingers. Now it can become frustrating and a tad boring, as I said, but it needs to be done if you're going to learn to play the guitar. Okay? Now, go and do some serious practice. Enjoy.